Hey guys, welcome. We have literally had the wettest summer in Belgian history, so it's definitely a good time for this video.
Can you feel it in the air? The clouds are rolling in.
Number one, make sure you know how to set up in the rain, because while you're walking, your backpack should be able to deal with a good bit of rain, especially if you use a pack liner and maybe some Ziploc bags. But what happens when you set up camp? How do you keep everything from getting wet in the process when you can't wait for the rain to pass? A couple of tips on that. As always, pack your stuff in the reverse order that you need them. So in this case, be sure to keep your rain gear and tent on top. You can shorten your setup time by doing a few trial runs at home, especially when you've got a new tent or when it's been a while since you've used it. Now, when you're in a hurry, it can be tempting to just set up at the first level spot that you find. It does pay, however, to take a close look at how the water flows through the campsite, because I guarantee you that you will regret it if that small rivulet that flows by your tent turns into a stream during the night. Now, if you happen to have a tarp, well, you're in luck. Just put that sucker up first and try not to gloat too much at the poor people getting wet around you. Number two, make sure to choose the right clothing. There are many different kinds of rain, from light drizzles to pouring rain, and many different kinds of rain jackets. What doesn't exist, alas, is the single rain jacket that will be a perfect fit for all rainy conditions. You see, what you're looking for is a jacket that is as breathable as possible and as waterproof as necessary. But until someone makes a jacket from unobtainium, we unfortunately can't have both. The most waterproof jackets don't breathe very well, and the most breathable jackets may be great at handling sweat, but they will wet out in heavy rain. We can maybe do a comparison of different kinds of rain jackets in the future. If you guys are interested, just let us know in the comments. Rain pants or rain skirts can be useful, but mostly in colder seasons, because in summer, chances are you'll just get wet from the inside by sweating, so we don't actually use these very often. For other clothing, it's best to pick quick-drying fabrics like polyester, wool, and nylon, and best to stay away from cotton, since cotton absorbs water and doesn't retain much warmth when it's wet. Okay, number three, don't carry the rain. In the morning, try to get your tent as dry as possible before you pack it, because a wet tent can easily weigh 500 grams more. If you're gonna be carrying water, at least choose the kind that you can drink. Now, try as you might, you're not gonna get your tent completely dry, so it just started raining while I'm recording this video. As I was saying, you're not going to get your tent completely dry, so it's a good idea to air everything out as soon as you take a break during a dry spell. That is a perfect excuse to sit on your ass a bit longer, by the way. I'm not lazy, my tent is drying. Number four, make sure you know how to build a fire even when it's wet. When you've just spent a day hiking in the rain, gathering around a campfire is just the best feeling ever. But how do you make a fire when everything's wet? Well, the same basics of fire making apply. You'll still need tinder and kindling if you want to get a fire going, but you'll need more and you'll want it as dry as possible. So it's a good idea to spend your last few miles before getting to camp looking for small twigs, pine cones, grass, anything that's kept dry by its surroundings. If you brought a knife, you can use that to get to the dry center of dead wood. And when you build your fire, make it nice and vertical and be sure to keep it off the wet ground. Even with these tips though, having a good fire starter is definitely going to make your life easier. You can of course buy these and bring them along, but you can also find them in nature. One tip, courtesy of Alex, is to look for birch bark. If you strip off shavings of the outer layer, you'll find that they make for an excellent fire starter. If you find them along the way, you can keep them in your pockets to let them dry for a bit, but because of the natural oils they contain, they will burn even when wet. Now, obviously, you only want to take the bark off of dead trees. Plenty of those if you keep your eyes open. Seriously, don't be the guy who kills a healthy tree by stripping its bark. Nobody likes that guy. Number five, consider bringing an umbrella. Hiking with an umbrella admittedly looks and feels a bit weird. But if it's warm enough and there's little to no wind, it can actually be all you need, and it does have a couple of advantages. It keeps your head and part of your backpack dry. It weighs less than most rain jackets. You can cook under it, and if you're like me and you carry a camera around on hikes, it allows you to keep it dry without stowing the camera away too far. Lastly, I think one of the most important things to do when hiking in the rain is just to embrace it and go with the flow. We get out there to experience nature, right? And in many ways, nature comes alive when it's raining. It smells differently, it sounds differently, and it can really bring out the colors and the textures. And of course, it keeps away other humans, which depending on your mood, can sometimes be exactly what you need. Okay, those were our 6 tips for hiking in the rain. If you have some tips of your own, or you have a great hiking in the rain, soaked to the bone story, be sure to share them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.